but she was too terrified to look at anyone. Mom made us both strip and change into matching white dresses for visibility, then lined us up for the hunter's inspection. 5 men with 5 different weapons, passing a bottle of whiskey and making bets on who'd bag which girl first. The one with the compound bow kept licking his lips while staring at the younger girl. I memorized each face and weapon. As Mom reached the final numbers of her countdown, I grabbed the other girl's hand and whispered, "Follow me if you want to live." Then the horn sounded and we ran into the darkness. Behind us came the sound of weapons loading and men whooping like they were on safari. Ahead was 3 square miles of woods I knew better than anyone. For the first time in 13 hunts, I wasn't the prey anymore. I was the fucking welcoming committee. The horn blast was still echoing when I squeezed Arabella's hand 3 times. She jerked like I'd shocked her but followed when I pulled left toward the creek. Her palm was so sweaty it kept slipping from mine. Behind us, boots crashed through leaves and someone chambered around. I yanked her behind a thick oak and we pressed against the bark. My heart was going so fast I thought they'd hear it. 20 yards ahead was my first trap and we had to reach it before they spread out. I counted to 3 in my head, then pulled Arabella into a sprint. She stumbled on a root, but I hauled her up without stopping. The fishing line I'd strung between 2 trees was invisible in the dark. I dropped to my knees and pulled Arabella down hard, just as footsteps pounded behind us. The hunter hit the line at full speed and it caught him right across the throat. He went down gagging and cursing while his rifle clattered away into the leaves. We scrambled on hands and knees toward the creek bank while he rolled around behind us choking. The mud at the creek edge was cold and thick. I scooped it with both hands and started smearing it all over Arabella's white dress. She was shaking so bad her teeth were clicking together. The mud covered the bright fabric and I rubbed more on her arms and face. Her palms were already bleeding from when I'd pulled her down. I ripped strips from my dress hem and wrapped them quick as I could. 3 rules, I whispered right in her ear. Stay low, breathe through your nose, follow exactly where I step. She nodded, but I could tell she was too scared to really understand. Through the trees came a voice I recognized from watching the hunters earlier. Trevor was calling out grid coordinates to the others, calm and professional like this was a normal job. He had the compound bow and actually knew how to hunt, not like these drunk idiots who just wanted to shoot at kids. His voice was getting closer from the east. We crawled along the creek bank, staying low in the mud. My hands found the metal post of the first camera and I stood up just enough to reach it. The mount was already loose from my morning prep work. I tilted the whole thing toward the sky, then smeared mud thick across the lens. This would give us a blind spot toward the hollow log where I'd hidden supplies. We'd have to circle back for it, but at least the cameras couldn't track us there. Arabella grabbed my arm and pointed behind us. Flashlight beams were sweeping through the trees maybe 50 yards back. We had to move faster. I pulled her into the shallow part of the creek and we waded upstream. The water was so cold it felt like knives in my feet. After about 100 yards, I found the fallen oak with the X I'd scratched into the bark. The hollow stump was right behind it, covered in dead leaves. Inside was everything I'd stolen over the past weeks. 3 box cutter blades taped to wooden handles, rope, gauze from Mom's first aid kit, and matches wrapped in plastic. I pressed one of the makeshift knives into Arabella's hand. Hold it like this, I showed her, keeping the blade pointed out and down. Only if someone grabs you. She was crying now, but trying to stay quiet about it. Snot was running down her face, mixing with the mud. A scream ripped through the woods from the south. Not a battle cry, but real pain. Someone had found my punji pit. The sharpened branches weren't deep enough to kill, but they'd go right through a boot into the foot and calf. The screaming kept going, and I heard other voices rushing toward it. "What the fuck?" someone yelled. "The little bitch set trap."
Click the link in my bio to get the full story for free.